And the Earth acts like a giant rolling pin, if we think about it. That the tide going back and forth, this heavy volume versus not so much of a volume, pushing this heavy volume versus this smaller volume. And the tide in the ocean is acting like the world's giant rolling pin, which has an effect on different stuff underneath it. It's pressing it one way and it's moving it slowly back and forth, and this rolling back and forth in all of this lovely petroleum making and different stuff like that is maybe it reaches another pocket of something else and it brings that in and it crushes it together. When we look at, let's say, Volvic and its volcanicity and the mineral water, and the water is then filtered through the rock, well, if water is getting through the rock, then all of these other juices are filtering through the rock. So therefore, we look at crude oil and we're like, wow, there's a lack of bones in here. Well, the bones were filtered out a long time ago. The juices ran away from the bones and mixed into a solution. You know, and people are like, well, we've got these places, they're called landfill. Well, landfill is a lot of different chemicals and ingredients all thrown into one. And I guess that what we're talking about is that's the way not to do it. If it's making methane, and the methane is hard to collect, it's hard to do this, it's got a bit more this, that's a way not to do it. That's how not to do it. So you have the right sort of idea of putting this stuff into these rubbish areas, but are they actually being left to go through the same? You know, oranges come from a tropical area. Find out where native oranges came from. Find out where all of these native trees come from. Native animals come from in different areas of the planet on a geographical location. AI can help you, but AI doesn't help you unless you use your brain to program the AI in order for it to find this stuff. And therefore it should then start to piece together how petroleum is created. Right now we hold tiny pieces of a puzzle, and these pieces of a puzzle are not enough to see the bigger picture. So you got a piece and you're like, we're throwing this in landfill and it's just creating methane. How does this work? What is missing? Well, medium, different rock layers. If oranges drop over there and become a part of the medium and they're over there, but yet in, let's say, the UK, we've got apples growing over here and different things like that, and that's dropping down. Sure, we got loads of ocean on the top layer, but what about under the layers? Underneath all of that, once it starts dripping all the way down, it must find its way down. You know, you leave the pips, they all stay up. Nature knows this, that's why I will leave the pips there. But the juices leach out into the ground and they go downwards. And, you know, the tree rises, or if it's an animal, the bones stay up. And then the ground is filtering the juices from the bones. And this is now, and depending on what the rock is there, what sort of filters it's going through. And then therefore those juices are going to chemically react and may not react with some things, and then will react with some things, and then take on these different dissolved minerals into the juice now. Now the juices have changed. And then these juices might interact with the juices over there. And then therefore there's this very carefully crafted mixing going on that then might later on give you gas, natural, and then it might give you different petroleum, crude oil, if you want to call it crude oil. We shouldn't say petrol, we should just say crude oil. And then is that a mixture of land decay juices versus ocean decay juices mixed in together? So if we really devised our bins in such a way that we had ocean stuff put in this bin, we then had animal leftovers in this one, cows in this one, sheep in this one, fruit and veg, different types, citrus in this one, this in this one, this in this one, this in this one. And then we started making different sorts of landfill pits. What are the juices that are collected from that? You know, if we all throw it all in the same landfill like we keep doing, well then keep expecting the same results. Methane. Light it up. Oh no, these methane pits are very bad for us, but none of us will stop and look at what we are doing and say, okay, maybe we ought to sort the rubbish a little bit more. Maybe we should just be putting this stuff here, and here, and then seeing how we can, what are these juices that are coming off of this? And then what happens if I take those juices, mix them with these juices, and then sprinkle in a little mineral in here? What am I making? Now if I give that some pressure and a little bit of heat, we don't need to cook it. You don't need to light a fire underneath it to cook it. Magnifying glass cylinder somewhere that can take the pressure. Wouldn't that be a natural way to do it? And then, you know, use that heat to utilize that heat into creating something. Oh, that's made a new chemical, a solar chemical. Okay, now what happens if I now mix this chemical with this mixed chemical with that mixed chemical? What am I going to get? Said Rupert. Well, you're not going to get gold, but you might certainly get a fuel that is usable. The gas is going to be leaching out into the planet anyway. Do you see? And then it's natural because of the formulas. Oranges, this, that, and the other, this. Natural this, it's a lot of natural. I think that the methane, I don't know, either or, isn't that a way not to do it? That's where Earth is like, I know how to mix it this way, but I shouldn't have done it this way. But look at all of these other resources that I've managed to mix in a way that was more beneficial, except for the methane pit that's under the ocean. That one we'd look at, we know how to do that one. That's a mix of everything in there. Something in Earth's history meant that everything fell in there. Whew, want to find that one out. And you see, AI will start to help piece this together. But you need to be able to tell AI how to do it, what to look for. I think you have to program it, code it, help it understand this stuff. And then it can run and do its magic. But AI is not without flaws. It has to have human level of... You need both, really. I think that AI relies on humans and humans rely on AI. Isn't that a beautiful relationship of, you know, two ends of a spectrum coming together to find that balance in the middle? And neither one is better without the other, because you might create AI and it runs along, but without humans being there to give it more input, to know how to do more and to get it on another area, to get it out there in the space, let's say on another planet, to do this, to do that, to make... Without that toldness being told to the AI, well, it just becomes very nice. It would be a very, very nice thing. But if humans disappeared, then AI just stays being what it is. And it won't evolve on its own. Perhaps it will be able to think and know the universe and this, that, and the other. Interesting, but its purpose, its point, its understanding, I think it needs humans. And if humans built it from the minds of many humans over ions working together with this input put into code, and therefore it is just learning what humans learn in a much faster, cheaty sort of way. Do you get what I mean? Because it is cheating in a way, isn't it? It never did it itself. You did it. You and your collective minds coming together as one seems ideal as AI. So AI would be nothing without the brilliance of minds that are all put into the AI systems. Therefore, if someone writes a text here, well, it knows a little bit more about text and different stuff like this and different level. Oh, we now know this. Okay, dush. Now we know this. Okay, now we know this. And yeah, I understand. I don't think that will ever fall away from humans because I think it's within us. That's what makes us human at the end of the day, isn't it? This ability to look and figure out and just do this sort of beautiful stuff. And AI never did that. We did that, and then AI took over. Do you get what I mean? Not that took over, it's a wrong word. That's a terrible word because it sounds apocalyptic, but it's not. Humans do that. And I think that's the evolution and the very art of what we evolved into, is being this thinking ability. And I don't think we'll lose it because I think it's in us. It just means that we get to no longer do all of the tedious stuff. We can put that down, and now we can now look at some more bigger thinking processes. And then I think that, you know, let's look at it as a human. Let's take Galileo, and then let's give him loads of chores of life, and he go and mop the floor, cook food, do this, do that. I know it's not, but let's just take Galileo doing all of these things, or Copernicus, or anybody else for that matter. Or Tesla had to go and do these other things. Do you think those inventions and breakthroughs would have come? Well, no. Because he was too busy doing all of this. But if somebody else were to take that load and then they were able to go and play and experiment and do and make and create, then look, it gave back to humanity. In a weird sort of roundabout sort of way, someone was taking the load for Tesla, someone was taking the load for Galileo, you know, keeping him in house arrest, if you think about it in a way. Probably gave him more time to do and explore and experiment. He used the time wisely because, well, you're kept in a prison, aren't you? If you think about it in a way. Interesting. And then therefore people take the load and you're walking on their shoulders while giving them more things to... It's really weird, isn't it? Isn't it a kin relationship between this type of process? And AI is no different, that it could take up the slack. Therefore more thinking comes, more ability to do. Ancient Egyptians were very much saying that, wasn't they? That they didn't want to do the tedious work of the farming. No, because the much more thinking and abilities, they would lose that. I've only learned this in the last few days. It's weird, really, but at the same time it makes the most sense. The ones that were thinking of what to put on the walls were not the ones building the walls. The ones that were thinking about what comes next were not the artists drawing on the walls. No, they wouldn't have time to do that. Where they were taking up their time to mold and sculpt this, the thinking process has to shut down. And then there is none. Then it wouldn't have been built. If people weren't doing the farming to feed the person that was then scribing on the walls, which was then allowing someone to think, which was then allowing... without any of that, it wouldn't have happened. So I think that AI is great. Yeah, it can help humanity in a massive way that do things where we can take the foot off of that a little bit and not be so... We don't have to do that ourselves. And then there's more time for more important stuff to be done. So we can either choose A, to waste time. We can be destructive. We can do this, do that. Or we can be creative and use the time and utilize it in a wise way. To experiment, play around, and learn more about ourselves, one another, and the environment, and the outer environment, space, other planets, other areas. And I think AI helps us get there quicker, a lot quicker, because you haven't got to do it. You know, how much time did the invention of the wash machine save? If you think about it, how much more time did that save? Have you ever tried in today's world to go and wash your clothes with your hands? All of your washing, your whole week's worth. Yeah. How much time saved did the cooker save us? And think about it, in an ash pit somewhere, food takes a lot longer to cook, and it's a fine art. Leave it too long, yeah, that's going to be a bit dry. Get it too early, well, you've just dug it up too soon. Now oxygen's getting to it and it's more likely to burn. There's this fine medium, but the cooker revolutionized that, and now you put timers in it, technology. You can go and get on with something else and it will shut down at the time. You know, I've been cooking this meal for a while now. I know it needs this many minutes by the timer. AI, once again, shaved so much time off of humans. And what do we replace it with? Interesting. Type your comments down here. What did you replace your time with in the time that it's doing that? There are so many things. Now we've got robots that are able to hoover your house. How much time is that saving you? Well, it takes approximately 1 hour to hoover properly, correctly, and to make it a good enough job once a week, this whole entire house top to bottom. An hour! An hour! What could you be doing with that hour? Now a robot does it. How much time has that saved? An hour. How much time has the wash machine saved? About a day's worth of work. How much time has the cooker saved? Well, there you go. Now we're starting to see some trend. Time. And if time don't exist, time exists, time exists. Well, time clearly does exist when you got to do something. Then time exists. Then it's really dragging out. Oh, I got to do this, do that, do this, write this. Okay, now do this, now do this, now do this. And it's time consuming. If you then put Copernicus or Galileo in that, none of these inventions would be here. Or Tesla, where they had to do all of this stuff because it'd be forever filling their time with tasks. And now AI is on the door or on the verge, and it saves more time. Time to do what? Time to be creative, time to think differently, time to do this, time. The only way true breakthroughs are going to come is when we have more time. So getting back to this one, that volcanoes filter water, let's say, or different stuff like this. I don't like this one because it contains fluoride. I'm not keen on this one because of the fluoride in it. Natural mineral water. That's very natural to me. And so yeah, no, I don't drink this one. I drink the others. Yeah, nice. But anyway, neither here nor there. Your preference. What you like. Put that over there. Whew, it's heavy. And then thinking about this with the petrol and different stuff like that, and oxygen making, and then if you are able to make this crude oil, and then you are able to, once burnt, find a way to then unpack that so that it's not as toxic or deadly or greenhousey, I think then you have the time to do that. The time to be able to experiment, the time to sort rubbish. AI might be able to do it a lot better than we can. Throw it in the bin, it knows by the different things, it scans it into your different bins, and then it self-sorts the wheelie bins. Hey council, would you like to try that one out? A brand new, modernized AI version of a wheelie bin, that you chuck the shit in the top and it self-sorts all of it. Orange peel over here, apple peel over there, different bits of carcass animal over there, different bits of this over there, plastic there, metal here, this one over there. I mean, wouldn't that, and it also self-cleans itself by storing up some rainwater as it collects it, because most of those bins are saturated in weather most of the time anyway. So therefore, you know, once again, it saves time. How much time now would you now save on not needing to sort that out? Interesting. Self-wheelie bins that know how to go and put themselves out on the road. The truck just drives past it, picks it up and throws it in automatically. I mean, this is interesting, but there again, it takes away jobs, I understand that, so probably not. Maybe, maybe not, I'm not sure. But even still, and then when you get to the other end, can it then start experimenting with making different types of fuel? Now this is an interesting question. What mediums can then it mix? In little tiny areas where it's doing its own experimenting, putting a bit of this in there, a bit of this in here, and it mixed this one, whilst recording the results of that recipe. And at the end of it, if you're like, whoa, this liquid that come from rubbish is now able to, I don't know, power generators. And this one over here was really good at cleaning stuff, and it's 100% natural. All from rubbish, the residue, the juices that come from your rubbish. Mixed in with a little bit of this, grass over here, vegetation over there, bits of tree clippings over here, different blah 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 blah, and so on and so on and so on. And it will remember the recipes of what worked and what does not work. And then it might stop the methane from being made. You don't need to require on landfill so much. It's very interesting, really. It's quite an interesting thing. Less plastic, less this, less jargon, less that, less to throw in your bin. Interesting, very interesting. And then can different foods and fruits and leftovers go on fields and work as fertilizer? Just asking the question. And would it break down and be a better nutritional value to the next set of crops that come out? It's possible. Of these juices and these weird and wonderful stuff, and it'd be so natural that it's safe enough to, I don't know, put it anywhere. And it's safe, 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 safe. I mean, isn't this where humanity is knocking on the door? This is whereabouts we're at? Interesting. So, yeah, as these two videos kind of hit the point where I'm at, and the breakdown ratio of different foods and the chemical reactions, Pandora's box is most certainly here. Is it time to open that box and explore the possibilities of this new world? This new concept, new thinking, new enlightenment, they would say. I think this is one of those moments, isn't it? Yeah.